All right. How's the audio? David, welcome. Make sure that gets posted. And I think I'm good there. Hello, fantastic priests. How are you? Well, I think I can take a guess at how you are. I hope you've recovered from your favorite driver's incident. But all right, let's get the screen on here. Finish posting this. Making sure everything posted, I should say. But once again, if the audio's off, I did adjust it. I've been really good at adjusting it in 2025. So if it's good, then good. If not, then, well, darn. I will adjust it for you all. But yes, the first regular season post-race live stream, and can't hardly hear you. Okay, I can turn it up a little bit more. All right, how's that? Is that better? All right. No. Oh. I guess that was my second screen, so you didn't see all that. A bunch of numbers popped up on my streaming thing. All right, so the audio's up. If I need to go more, I can pull it up more. There's that. Hopefully that's better. If not, once again, just keep letting me know. But Clausen Z, happy Tuesday in New Zealand. Still Monday over here in the U.S. for 3 hours and 57 minutes in between the lanes. Micah, thanks for the heads up. Fantastic Priest, yeah. It feels like things are upside down because, well, my friend, for Ryan Priest, that seems to be a trend at this point, him being upside down. So that's from a minute ago. So hopefully the audio is better now. But as you can see, the Monday after 2025 edition, we got our tabs up here. So we will go through some of these tabs. And as always, we'll go wherever things take us. If we go down a discussion path discussing the finishing position of 25th place Cody Ware, we'll do that. If we have nothing to talk about, though, that's why I got these tabs, so we can move on and talk to them. Some of them are just the big topics of the weekend. Some of them are our normal things. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Daytona 500. We're going to talk about the Truck Series race, the Xfinity Series race. I'm going to update you on the Fantasy League standings. I'm going to do our normal SVG recap. For those of you who don't know, Sunday we prioritize the race here, so we talk about the entire race, the entirety of it. And then we do somewhere in the middle of this, I don't know, that's why I got a little notepad here. First of all, I got all my notes on it. And then also I'll write down the minute mark. We start talking about it because I will chop that out, save that, edit it a little bit, and then I will post it in its own video form. So we will talk about Shane Van Gisbergen's first Daytona 500. I went back this morning, watched the onboard, listened to the radio, and that's what all this is about. So we'll do that. And then just some other big stories, topics, and then we'll make our Monday picks for Atlanta. Next week's race is at Atlanta, another Superspeedway, which leads me to my first point, ladies and gentlemen. What is the state of Superspeedway racing? Superspeedway racing was in such a great place at the end of 2021. Those last 3 years of the next gen car, there was just something about it that, in my opinion, I thought that was the best super speedway racing I had ever watched. You could make moves, you could get big runs, you could block it. Sometimes, people would throw bad blocks and it caused big wrecks. And yes, we still had big wrecks, but NASCAR would adjust accordingly. They'd lower the speeds. I think they took like a wicker bill off the spoiler. They did some other kind of aerodynamic stuff, but that 2019 to 2021 range was great in my opinion. You may disagree. And the next gen car has had its moments, I'll say. And I'm going to say a lot of people seem to be really negative on the race yesterday. Maybe it was just the ending. I personally enjoyed yesterday's race. I thought it was a solid race for a next gen super speedway race. The ending was a little too chaotic for my taste. Like, look, I get we're going to have wrecks at Daytona, Talladega, and now Atlanta, but 4 in the last 15 laps and a flip, my heart's still recovering from that. But yes, coming back to this, I just feel like it's something that's being heavily discussed right now. The state of super speedway racing in the next gen era. Denny Hamlin did his podcast. I only listened to the first 20 minutes, but he seemed upset. Not necessarily at anyone in particularly, but just how super speedway has been a little bit chaotic the last few years. Craig Thompson, 24 fan, it looks like. Micah still frustrated with the end of the race. Hey, I feel that. As I said, once again, I thought the race itself was pretty solid, pretty good. We saw a lot of different guys. Do we have laps led on here? I think we do. Oh, I'm so glad they updated the website and the app. The NASCAR app, if you don't have it, you got to get it. They have some incredible new features on it. I'm serious. I've had a great time. The only complaint I have, they don't show how many laps down people are. It's my one and only complaint. I had to get on my computer to look that up. But yeah, I mean, look at this. Byron, Briscoe, Bowman, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We had 15 guys lead laps yesterday. It's pretty neat. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It's that. In between the lanes. This is the weekly question I've missed the most in the off season. Favorite paint schemes. That 24 was beautiful. The flames are back. Like last year's, a lot of people didn't like it. I was like, I don't think it's that bad. It's a little simple, but it's not that bad. But then compared to this year's, yeah, last year's is nothing compared to this year's. So the winning paint scheme was beautiful. I like the Jimmy Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal kind of Orlando Magic looking paint scheme. I thought that was good. A lot of just normal paint schemes here that we'll see throughout the year. Like the Michael McDowell, it's a different driver, different number to the Go Bowling, but it's still the same Go Bowling paint scheme, it felt like. We talked about it a little bit in the preseason. I like Suarez's new freeway insurance scheme. Chase Elliott's all blue Napa scheme. So much better than the white Napa scheme. I'm not a fan of that one. Monster Energy back to back here. I didn't even notice that last night. Custer's Haas factory team looks like the standard Haas car, so I think that's a pretty looking race car. Let's see. Trying to just think of any that stuck out real quick. I'll say I like Bubba Wallace's this year. It's not as good as that 2022 McDonald's paint scheme, but it's better than that one from 2023 or 4. Yeah, I don't know. But for paint schemes, I really like the 91. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. But let's go back to the comments real quick. Fantastic Priest in reference to the Super Speedway Racing, something I don't like. I don't think Ryan Priest likes it either. He definitely voiced his displeasure. I mean, he's not wrong. I said it a little bit last night, but at some point, there is a chance that something could happen if we keep racing like this and we keep having these big wrecks and cars keep getting in the air. All it takes is one car getting in the air at the wrong time and hitting at the wrong angle. It's not something we want to talk about. It's not a fun topic at all, but it's got to be brought up. Micah says, I think the next gen Super Speedway Racing is acceptable, but the end of the races, yeah. And Micah, Denny Hamlin actually I thought he kind of stated it pretty good, not perfect, but whatever. And he kind of talked about how it was a microcosm of what NASCAR is today. The first 80-85% of the race is normal, it's fun, it's good. But then if there's a caution late and it comes to a late race restart, just everyone loses their minds. Everyone forgets how to drive. Everyone just starts, in super speedways, they start making moves to win the race from 8th place, 15th place. At road courses, we'll see people go 5 wide, dive bombing into a hairpin turn 1 and wrecking half the field because they want to try to make a winning move from 15th place. We'll see people at short tracks for 4th place just go send someone into the fence. It gets a little bit silly sometimes, for sure. Now, obviously not every single race is like that, but it feels like in the last 5 years maybe. I understand where he's coming from when he says that, where the last 5 years it feels like if you're in second place and you have a shot, you know, everyone else is doing it. Why can't I just go in there and wipe someone out for the win, you know? So it's just the way things have evolved. It's just the way things go now. But the super speedways are a different story because you're not going to intentionally bump someone or wreck someone out of the way. Maybe you throw a bad block and wreck the field, or maybe you make a miscalculation in throwing a block, or, you know, getting into a line and you trigger a big wreck. But I'd argue that's always been the case with super speedway racing. Now, yes, you can go back 20 plus years ago when the tires wore out and, you know, more cases than not, like the driver made the difference. But as long as I've been watching since 2010, it's always been the chance. You know, someone miscalculates it by that much and it's a 15-car pileup. Tandem era, 2019, 2021 era, and the current era, even with all the fuel saving. Someone doesn't want to go, someone wants to go, they hit them too hard, there they go. So, yeah, the fuel saving, people get really annoyed by that for some reason. I don't let it affect me. I still enjoy the race. 3 wide at 170, 160 miles an hour, still pretty insane. But I can understand the frustration, though. So, I missed a comment earlier. It said, Michael, frustrated we lost signal just before the end of stage 1 here in New Zealand. Well, Michael, we'll get to Shane Van Gisbergen's day in a minute, but it basically ended right after stage 1. So if you were only watching Shane Van Gisbergen, you really saw it all. You really did. Fantastic Priest says, I agree with a lot of what Denny said, but it seems NASCAR are too concerned about short track stuff for other random things. Well, you know, in fact, I think I got it written down somewhere in this notebook, but I broke down the schedule for the SVG video where I talked about how many tracks we go to. I think the super speedways are the least amount. And in terms of the actual championship, they're not as big of an impact. It's somewhere in here. Yeah, this may take a minute, but it could also be the other notebook on the floor. No, it's not. Okay, it's right here. Here we go. All right. But, oh, well, I'll be. 6 short tracks and 6 super speedways. And then, okay, but I also put New Hampshire and Phoenix as hybrids. So if you count those as short tracks, then anyways. I just think people are more vocal about the short tracks because we had some horrendous racing at the beginning of the next gen era. Like, do you guys remember that first short track, that Martinsville 2022 spring race? That was terrible. That's the worst Martinsville race I've ever watched, ever. Now, there was also some other external factors, like I think it was a really cold night. It was a shorter race. Like, I think it was only 400 laps. That was the first 400 lapper. But, like, Byron led, like, 350, and, like, Elliott led 50. Like, there was no competition in that race. So, NASCAR's been so focused on that. And the super speedway, I feel like people aren't as loud about. So, maybe that's it. I don't know. Hello from Prescott, Arizona. Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. Yes. George Hassler. It's IE, not Y, firstly. But secondly, you make a great point. I got to zoom in. If I can. I can't. Well, hold on. Can I? Aha, yes, I can. Look at this. Who would have thought Jimmy Johnson would finish 3rd in the Daytona 500? Now, I said this last night. I'll say it again tonight. Could you imagine going back in time, like even just 10 years ago, and saying to someone that everyone would be so pumped up and so excited and thrilled for Jimmy Johnson at the fact that he got a top 3 finish? Like, this is the guy who was averaging like a top 3 finish for like 10 years or something. Not actually, but basically. And now here we are in 2025, and Jimmy Johnson finishing 3rd is like him winning the Super Bowl. Like, it's just insanity. Everyone's going crazy. Everyone's so happy for him. They're like, oh my God, Jimmy Johnson got third. Like 10 years ago in 2015, Jimmy Johnson would probably be furious at a third place finish. So how times have changed. Once again, with this whole live stream so far has been about how times have changed, the evolution of Superspeedway racing, and now how times have changed. Jimmy Johnson celebrating a third place finish like he just won the thing. So and it's also situations and all that, but still, just it's weird to think about after watching him win all those championships. Klaus NZ. So here's a great example, you know. Some of us NASCAR fans, us longtime NASCAR fans, will nitpick and we'll say, oh, I don't like this one small thing and it just ruins the entire race for me. It kills me to see blah, blah, blah. Well, we got a new NASCAR fan here. Klaus NZ says, I've only been watching NASCAR since last year when SVG came on the scene. I think super speedways are awesome. So I guess it's kind of, I don't mean to get like super deep here and like metaphoric or anything, but it's kind of like life. You know, it's all about the perspective you look at it from. If you look at it from a fan who's been watching for 30 years and you know every little bit and piece about the rule book, about how the cars drive, about the aerodynamics, about the engines, how fast they go, all the technical little things, you're going to be annoyed because, oh, in my 30 years of racing, I've watched this, this, and this be better, and now we're at this. This is so disappointing. But a new fan comes in, they're like, wow, this is intense. This is cool. I've never seen anything like this in Formula One, in supercars, in IndyCar, in rally, and you name it. And it's all about the perspective in a sense. So I appreciate the perspective, Klaus NZ. Glad you're a fan. Glad you enjoyed the race. Once again, I enjoyed the race last night. I didn't like how ugly the ending got, but I still enjoyed it. A lot of people are complaining about it, by the way. Aaron's is back with Gilliland as a primary. Yes, fantastic priest. We will talk about that at the end when we make our Monday picks. Michael says, personally, last season, the Xfinity cars put on a better super speedway show. Felt the same this weekend. Xfinity puts on a really good product almost every single race. I'll give you that. But the super speedways are kind of hit or miss with Xfinity. Like that Atlanta spring race last year, I remember that was horrible. Like Jesse Love led 120-something laps. Austin Hill led 70-something laps. Everyone else led like 8 laps or something. So it's hit or miss. But yes, I will agree with you. I thought Xfinity's race this weekend was great. And something else, Austin Hill is just like at another level. Like it's insane how good he is. I guess we can go look at the Xfinity results. It's insane how good Austin Hill is at these Xfinity races. Like, you don't see him up here because he had a mechanical failure, but look how many laps he led before his mechanical failure. I think he had his mechanical failure before the end of stage 2. He led 56 laps. Like, the guy was insane. He's always been insane at these super speedways. He's won at Atlanta 4 times, I think, since the reconfiguration. He's won at Daytona 4 times, I think. Like, he's cursed at Talladega. I don't know what it is about him at Talladega. He just can't win at Talladega for some weird reason. But it's extremely impressive. And, like, he has to drive the car. It's not like they're fuel saving. It's not like he's having to block the lanes, manage the runs. He has to get up front. Like, he didn't lead every single lap. He had to get up there. He had to make passes, make moves, choose the right lane. And there's just something about it. I don't know what it is. I don't know how he makes such a difference. But, man, he's really fun to watch at the super speedways. I got to say. And once again, I couldn't tell you what it is, but it's fun to watch. Ooh. 3 big ones in the last 15 laps is too much. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so William Byron made history yesterday. He's like the 4th or 5th guy in NASCAR history to win back-to-back Daytona 500s. But he's also, I think, David said it here, the youngest driver to win 2 Daytona 500s since, it's either since Jeff Gordon or he's the youngest and he broke Jeff Gordon's record. I can't remember exactly how that goes, but that's a pretty big deal. So, yeah, really big deal for William Byron to do that. Icy like the drink at the movie theater, I'm guessing. My pick Chris Buescher. Prosper, Texas zone, by the way, got a top 10. Yeah, so back to cup results. We zoomed in on Jimmy Johnson. But yeah, we talked about the results last night, but just look at this top 10. Who would have guessed this? Not me. I did not have John Hunter Nemechek 5th. I did not have Jimmy Johnson 3rd. Justin Allgaier 9th. Ooh, but man, that yeah, no, I would have never guessed. What do you think about the caution inconsistency? They need a live G-force meter to determine the severity of the crash. Alex, I get what you're saying. I'm genuinely convinced, and they may not admit it, but I'm pretty sure NASCAR like listened to all the pissed off fans on the internet on Sunday, because we all cried and moaned and screamed about how could NASCAR throw a caution in a wreck that's not even that bad 200 yards from the stripe. And on Sunday, they said, okay, we heard you. Okay, no cars are flipping. No one's in the catch fence. I don't even see a car on fire. Let them go. Let them race this thing out. But as soon as William Byron crossed the stripe, that's when they threw the yellow. That's when they said, okay, everyone calm down. It's over. The winners crossed the line. No controversy this year like last year. And we can go clean up the mess. We can go tend to the drivers who were in the wreck. So, yes, when you look at those two incidents without context, for sure, it seems that it's inconsistency. But I am convinced that NASCAR listened to us angry internet fans, and I personally applaud them for listening. Now, they should not always listen to the angry internet fans, because sometimes we are stupid. A lot of the times we are stupid, I should say. And really, I think this was a good thing. They shouldn't do it every week, like, coming off 4, if there's a car flipping into the fence, then okay, yeah, throw a caution. We don't want anyone, like, for example, SVG was 8 laps down, way off the pace. We don't want him coming barreling in, trying to make up a position, and the car that's flipped and is about to be cut in half gets body slammed by a car going 150. So at some instances, you got to throw it immediately. But last night, I thought that was fine. That was fine. I'm fine with it. But I would like to see more consistency, like you said, Alex. William Byron won that Martinsville race in 2022 with the Raptor scheme. In between the lanes, you have enraged me. You just reminded me that Raptor existed. That beautiful Exalta paint scheme won last night. And Raptor still exists, much to my displeasure. Thank you for reminding me. Craig picked Buescher too. Robert Stone, there is no such thing as being late. So you're right on time, my friend. 14 laps. What in the... Oh my God. There were only 14 laps left by the top 5. Oh, that's insane. Wow. And think about it. Byron led like 8 laps in the first 20. Briscoe led the first 4 laps. So only 2 of those laps, maybe one of those laps was led past lap 20, 25. That's even crazier. I mean, Cindric, look at this. In fact, I want to do some. I am a big fan of the lap sled category. I want to see Austin Cindric's lap sled by year and see where he is already. Because Austin Cindric, he leads a lot of laps at these super speedways. Like, he's going to be a favorite heading into next week at Atlanta, which we are not quite ready to go to. So no one jumped to Atlanta yet. We're not there. Go. Hello? Racing reference, are you okay? Racing reference? Ah, there we go. Okay. Cool. It was taking a while to load. It's a little scary there. I guess I should make sure the live stream's working. We're on the same Wi-Fi here. Just realized that there was a bunch of glare from the light ahead or up above. That's a little bit better, but what are you going to do? All right, here we go. Austin Cindric. He led 256 laps in 2024. He only led 33 laps in 2023, so he has almost doubled his laps led from 2023. He only led 86 laps in 2022, so 59 laps in one race already this year. That's kind of crazy. Fun fact. The fact that Bell is 30, he does look 23, and I did not know he was 30. Thank you for that, fantastic priest. Wow. Penske didn't have a rough night. Look at these numbers. 59, 23. So that's hold on, math is hard. That's 82. 82 plus, oh boy, 125 laps. They led 125 laps out of 200. So they led more than the majority of the race. They just didn't end up here. So, I mean, it was a rough night in terms of they didn't win, but they had the best cars. You cannot dispute that. Logano had the best car, but he had those mechanical issues, and then he was back in the pack, and by the time he got up to do anything, he got wrecked. So, yeah. Who got the fastest lap? Matt Smith. Yeah, fantastic priest. You're correct. Michael McDowell. In fact, that is where I want to go next. I got to go back, don't I? We're going to go to the point standings. Michael McDowell did indeed get the first ever fastest lap. He got a bonus point, but here are your point. Hello? What is this? This is 2024. I want 2025. Oh my goodness. Okay. You know what? Plan B. We're going to see if it's already loaded up. It's loaded up on the app. Like, I had the standings earlier. What? What is happening? Bro, how are you? The NASCAR app already has the point standings up to date. Oh, that is this year's point standing. I am stupid. Wow. It's been a long speed week. That's my excuse. I'm sorry for yelling at you, NASCAR.com. I'm stupid. Yell at me. I messed up. This is your current point standings. If this is about to be so funny. Oh, please have the option. Oh, man, they don't have the option. Dude, if they had the option for the playoffs, all right, here's what's crazy. If the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs started today, all three Legacy Motor Club cars would be in. Ty Dillon with Colleague would be in. McDowell with Spire would be in. Stenhouse would be in. And the funniest thing is we go to the owner standings and look who would be in. Junior Motorsports. If the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs started in driver and owner, we would have the funniest possible playoff outlook. Just saying. Just think that would be really funny. Anywho, back to this. Micah, unfortunately, Shane Van Gisbergen did not lead a lap. Is it time? Is it time? Yeah, it's time. Okay. I'm going to take a swig of water, and then we're going to do the SVG recap. Okay. Oh, I got to get what minute mark we're at here. All right. 29 minutes. Okay. Close enough. Shane Van Gisbergen completed his first ever Daytona 500. This is currently a live stream. If you are here live, hi, this is awkward, I know, but this will be cut and turned into a video. This is what we're going to do every week. Every Monday night, we will come on here, do a live stream where we talk about the point standings, we talk about the race results, we talk about Xfinity, we talk about truck, we talk about any of the heavy-hitting topics, but then we're going to carve out 15, 20 minutes, however long we need, to talk about Shane Van Gisbergen's day, since on race day, we have to focus on the race itself. So I took some notes here from the race, And then also, I went back this morning. I watched the race replay from Shane Van Gisbergen's onboard with his radio. That is on the HBO Max or Max, whatever they call it now. But let's get into it. So, Shane Van Gisbergen, this is the longest week of the year for NASCAR. Usually, you show up Saturday morning, you do 20 minutes of practice, and then you qualify for 2 laps, and that's it. Sunday, you race. That's a normal race week in the NASCAR Cup Series nowadays. Well, the Daytona 500 is the biggest race of the year. This is the race that everyone wants to win. It's the Super Bowl of NASCAR, as they call it. And because of that, there is more practice. There is an earlier qualifying date. So on Wednesday night, which has now been 5 days, we had our standard qualifying. You go out, you make a lap, and you see how fast you can go. We did have a few practice sessions this week, unlike the normal one practice 20 minutes. We had 3 50-minute sessions this week. But to focus on qualifying, SVG ended up qualifying 30th. It was a rough weekend for Trackhouse as a whole. We're going to dive deeper into that. But SVG qualified 30th for the Daytona 500. Then we got to the Daytona Duels. And the Daytona Duels, this is where it gets a little complicated. So SVG's locked in. He's all good. There's other people fighting for spots in the race. But SVG does not start 30th because it's where you start is based off the duel finish. So if you qualify first or second, you start first or second regardless of what happens in the duel. Well, everyone else is fighting for 3rd to 41st or 40th in most cases. And SVG was in Duel 2, and Duel 2 sets the outside row of the Daytona 500. So that's 4th place, 6th place, 8, 10, 12, on and on and on to 40th. Well, Shane Van Gisbergen in this second duel ended up finishing 14th out of 22nd after a last 500 yards of the race crash and ended up having to go to a backup car. So he was slated to start P26 in 26th place, but as a result of the crash, they had to go to a backup car, and he ended up dropping to the rear of the field due to the NASCAR rules. Let's see here. I'm going to go through some comments for a minute. We talked about that. Doing a Bradbury and winning. Yeah, Denver, that's what everyone's talking about. Denny Hamlin ripped into Superspeedway racing. Ashton, welcome to the stream. What about Daniel Suarez? Like, where is he in points? 13th in points. I think he finished like 14th in the race, actually. So that actually kind of works out there. In fact, I'm going to come down here to SVG's point standing, which is not really good right now. So as I said, he crashed in the duel. Daytona International Speedway. It's a super speedway. It's 2.5 miles, which, oh boy, I should have really written this down. But 2.5 miles, about to do some calculations here, 2 kilometers is 4.02 kilometers. So that's how long it is, the racetrack. It's a super speedway. This is when they're in tight packs, big wrecks happen. You're flooring it for the most part, or in this case, in this generation of car, a lot of fuel saving. Not going full throttle, going 55% throttle or 70% throttle, depending on how much fuel you need. So it all depends on who wants to save fuel now, who wants to save it later, who wants to get up front in clean air, who wants to lead laps, all that stuff. Positioning yourself for the end of the stage or the end of the race. Well, SVG in the first 10 laps, there's a reason I only say the first 10 laps here. He was talking, the spotter was talking about light raindrops because there was a threat of rain. It's Florida. It rains all the time. The Daytona 500 tradition as of late has been a rain delay in some way, shape, or form. Well, the rain hit around lap 10, and that's how many laps we got in. So he started 35th. He sat in the outside lane for a couple laps and then said, hey, I want to start a third lane. Got up there, brought some other guys with him, and he made his way up to P28. Then the caution fell on lap 8, technically, and he ends up being 27th at the time. No stage points because it's only been 8 laps, but, he got a feel for the car in the pack. It's not like the single car qualifying run, and it's not like the duel where it's only 20 cars out there. So then while SVG sitting in the car waiting for them to essentially call the race, say, hey, we're going to be here a few hours, get out of the car, go do what you got to do. They're talking about fuel saving. And as I said, it's a really big emphasis on the Daytonas and the Talladegas now because it's just how it goes. And the crew chief, spotter, driver, all talking about, hey, you did a really good job with the throttle here, or hey, just a little bit more. I need you to give me a little bit more savings right here. Just let off a little bit more. Or, hey, go for it. We've got enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage. Flat out, do what you got to do to get to the front of the field, score points, or late in the race, get the win. SVG said his car was tight in this first run. It was tight the majority of the race that he actually ran. But, so hours later, we're back. Some people, they spend their rain delay going and taking a nap. Some people, like Carson Hocevar, go and they play video games. Some people go get a snack, get something to eat. Chase Briscoe likes to go get Panda Express. Some people like to go talk to their teams, debrief. They like to talk about the car. They like to do this. Or some people just go hang out with their family, whatever you may do. So a lot of drivers right off of that break. The cars have been sitting there for a while. They talked about how there was a little bit of a vibration. SVG said he had a bit of it, but it went away after a while. He went into pit after that caution, after they got going again, filled it up on fuel, and then we got some more rain, so we didn't even get back to green yet. We ran 9 laps under yellow. But at this point, they could make it to the end of the stage if they saved enough fuel, which they ended up doing. So he restarted 23rd, ended up getting in the top 10 for the first time on lap 25. So, hey, looking good. He's making his way up through the field, making the right moves, making pace, And once again, if you're in the pack, you got a chance. You got a chance of either going up and making some moves and getting to the front, or you got a chance of getting wrecked. That's how it goes at Daytona and Talladega. Anyone in the field has a shot as long as you're in that draft. Lap 41, he said he was still tight. Car was still tight. Trouble turning that car. First top 5 appearance was on lap 43. He's up there. He's making some moves. He's up at the front of the field of the Daytona 500. Then just a few laps later, he was up to second place. That is right. And he was, I'm not exaggerating. He was like inches away from leading the Daytona 500 in his first ever attempt. Then he went to the wrong line. He went from top to middle. Then the middle's what got him to the top 5. And then he swung down to the bottom of the track to get to second. But the problem is, and he acknowledged this on the radio later in the race, but when he went down to the bottom of the track to get second, he thought he was going to have a good push from Chase Briscoe behind him. The only problem is that Chase Briscoe was saving fuel, so he didn't give him a full-blown shove to get him out into the lead. And as a result, that bottom line quickly died out. And so SVG went from inches away from ending up going to the lead. And he ends up going back to like 19th, 20th. But he started to climb his way back up. Got up to 15th, 14th, 13th. He got up into the top. I have here on my notes, it says he got back into the top 10 for a bit. Ended up falling back to 12th, and there was a caution with 4 laps to go in the stage. So, ultimately, he fell just short of stage points. So, still, P12 in stage 1 of the Daytona 500. There's still 135 laps to go. Still a lot of racing to be done. A lot can change. You can improve. You now know if someone's pushing or if they're not pushing and what to expect from that line if they're not going 100% near the end of the stage. At some point on the radio, he kept on talking about how tight his car was and, quote, "I'm just a useless pusher," unquote. So then they do their pit stop. Remember that first pit stop after the rain, they just did fuel only. Well, this time they did 4 tires and fuel, and they also made some adjustments on the car to potentially loosen it up a bit, giving him some more turn. The problem is that the car in front of him on pit road was Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, another competitive car, another really good car. And Ty Gibbs, just the way pit road works, there's not always space for everyone. Someone comes in at a bad angle, and SVG didn't have a good angle to get out of his pit. He tried to go initially. He had to stop, back it up, and then he could take off. But at this point, Ty Gibbs had already taken off. So he ends that stage, P12. He ends up restarting P18, I have written down here. And this is where it goes wrong. Shane Van Gisbergen picks the top. Why am I bringing this up? You'll see her here in about 20 seconds. So Shane Van Gisbergen picks the top for this restart, and he goes, and everything seems normal. It's a normal restart. Everyone's going. The leaders get to turn 1. Joey Logano has dominated this race up to this point, has controlled the lanes well, won stage 1, led the most laps at that point of the race. And then a plastic bag got into his grill, sucked up through the engine, and got stuck on something internally that essentially broke his car. Excuse me. As a result, his car goes limp. It stacks everyone else behind him. Shane Van Gisbergen rear ends Ty Gibbs, and that was it. That was the end of his competitive day. Now, he goes on to finish the race like 8 laps down, but there was a really good still picture from a New Zealand website. I don't know where they got this picture. It's the thumbnail, though, but really good picture, and it kind of shows you. Look at the front end of that car. If you're watching this in the live stream, you guys will see it in the video form. But yeah, front end completely caved in. The hood, you can see in the video, the hood pops up. And so they had to tape it down. They had to punch it. They had to beat it with hammers. They even got out some giant screws and started like screwing into the hood at some point. Like they were doing a lot of intense stuff here. But as I said, that was it. That was his day. Yeah, that was his day. They kept on asking him, how's the steering? How are the water temps? And he said, they're good. It's just front end's kind of jacked now. So at the end of the day, Shane Van Gisbergen, he had a jacked up race car. And the problem was aerodynamically, I think, if I had to guess, that car just couldn't keep up. They couldn't stay in the draft. They couldn't keep at the tail end. And when you're not in the draft, you're screwed. You can't go anywhere near as fast as a 30 car pack. And SVG goes, he already got lapped on pit road fixing the car, but he goes from 2 laps down to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. I think he ended up 8 or 9 laps down, I want to say. But at the end of the race, he was 35th, like this entire race. After the wreck, he was 35th. And at this point, as bad as it sounds, if you're Shane Van Gisbergen, you got to remember, he's racing for a championship. Every position on the track is a point. At this point, he's rooting for a wreck, because if people wreck, they go to the garage, and SVG's able to make those laps up, and he's able to gain a couple of spots. And it wasn't looking any better. The track map, NASCAR app has this great feature with the track map showing how far he is behind the pack. And you need someone to wreck to make up positions. And well, the last 15 laps got freaky. People started wrecking. People started flipping. People started crashing in every way, shape, or form. Only problem is there was one too few wrecks, because SVG actually made up 2 positions. He ended up passing Kyle Busch and Joey Logano for position because they wrecked out of the race. However, there was another wreck, but it happened with 4 laps to go, and they threw a red flag to clean up the race. And, well, that meant that there wasn't enough time to run a bunch of caution laps for SVG to make up. And then the last wreck was on the last lap of the race, and at that point, there's no bonus laps you get. So SVG ends up finishing 33rd in the Daytona 500, only made up 2 positions. I think if that race ran 6 laps more, he would have finished like 26th. I'm not even kidding. So It was all down to that wreck being on the last lap or the red flag. So SVG ends up finishing 33rd in the race. He is currently 36 in the points, but it's been one race. Like, this can get flipped. I mean, guys, I want you, if you're a new NASCAR fan, look at these points right now. I guarantee you, I know he won't be up here because he's a part-time driver. The top 15 in points will look nothing like this come September. Nothing. I would say half these names will be off screen. And if they're on screen, they did something spectacular. So that's the first SVG recap of the year. Well, the first points race recap. It was a long one, I know. How long did I end up going here? Let's see here. 16 minutes. Okay, not too terrible. But anyways, that's the SVG recap. To those of you who are watching live, thank you for bearing with me. This is a weekly thing at this point. To those of you who are watching the cut version, the more edited, the more refined version, I appreciate you for watching. If you want to watch it live, we do this every Monday night. But next week we got Atlanta, another super speedway in a sense. So that'll be fun. That'll be exciting. But then we got a road course at COTA in 2 weeks, which I'm sure the SVG fans are looking forward to. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys next week for Atlanta. Okay, back to the normal live stream stuff. Let's see, I'm way off on comments. Daniel Suarez, that was the last comment I read. In between the lanes, what is it going to take for Kyle Busch to finally hoist the Harley J. Earl Trophy, finishing first in the Daytona 500? Hamlin almost became a four-time winner. Yeah, he was pretty upset about it this morning. Ashton, yes, they finished the race yesterday. All 502.5 miles because they did one extra lap. Excuse me. SVG did great in that first stage, made his way to the front, was switching lanes and making moves. Seems a lot more confident listening to the in-car comms. Yeah, Clausen Z, I didn't mention this in the video. I probably should have. But I talked about it a little bit, just knowing who's saving fuel and not, or figuring it out. But we saw it last year at Talladega where he made a couple moves to take the lead for a couple of laps, and then he just got abandoned. Like, he got hung out to dry. And that's not his fault. It's just NASCAR drivers are more confident with who they know and how they're going to race. So once other drivers are more confident with his abilities and how he races on the super speedways, I'm sure he'll get more pushes. He'll get more confidence built, more trust. But once that happens, then he can have trust in himself to make the moves, to shift a lane, to make a block, whatever it may be. So told his crew chief he needed to pee. Yeah, the rain delays are always funny. They're always really funny. Cole Custer's in the 41. Jamie said, I didn't hear about that trash Joey had to deal with until after the race ended. Yeah, Joey Logano, really unfortunate. I said last night, he had the best car. He had the best car of the race, but a trash bag ruined it. Which sucks for him, but I mean, it literally sucks for him because it got sucked into the car. But just such a, like, what are the odds of that happening? Why are we still talking about flipping, says Fantastic Priest? Well, I just brought it up again. So apologies for bringing up a traumatic event for you and your fan base and your driver. Joey got the lucky dog and timed his long pit stops perfectly while they fixed. Yeah, so that was another thing. SVG's team had to fix his car, and you know what? I'm going to pull up the picture for you in the live stream who may not come back. Gisbergen. Daytona. Aha. I already Googled. Well, that's nice. Aha. So I don't know what this New Zealand website is, but it's a .nz, so I'm assuming it's New Zealand. Okay, that's not really a good angle of the picture. I know you're here somewhere. Hello, where are you? Hello? Hi. Maybe I gotta put Daytona 500. But like, you got to see how caved in the nose is. Like, it's so bad. I'm not a mechanic in any way, shape, or form, but the instant I saw that picture, I was like, hey, I don't think that's supposed to be like that. So, where the hell is it? Oh my goodness, this is driving me crazy. This is hilarious. This is a little bit embarrassing for me because I found this picture so easily earlier on my phone, but now on the laptop, it doesn't want to show up. I guess I might just have to go to the link and show you the... I think it's hilarious. My Google search results are biased towards myself, and every once in a while I'll see my own thing here and it throws me off. But then I remember that, you know, I'm logged into my own account with all my stuff, and so it's kind of manipulated that I'm in there. Okay, here we go. Okay, plan B, we're just gonna look at this car, look at this picture, and okay, everyone, how do I expand this picture? You've got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness. Just trust me, the nose is caved in. You'll see it later in the video. You're going to have to watch the video now at this point. Apologies, everyone. All that work for nothing. Yeah, I saw that Kyle Busch was really upset that he got parked because the new DVP says that you can go back to the garage and fix now. And NASCAR explained it as you have to reach minimum speed in order to get off the DVP. And what they did is they fixed their car a little bit, went back on track, did not reach minimum speed, came back to the pits or the garage to fix it. And NASCAR said, hold on, you didn't reach minimum speed, you're done. That's how I think I perceived it from NASCAR's point of view. But RCR clearly disagreed. So I could be wrong, though. When is NASCAR going to step in and get driver standards advisor, even have driver... I mean, NASCAR's always just kind of been hands off. I mean, there are certain things, like you intentionally get wrecked, or like back in the day, I think they had more rules. But, I mean, it would have to get really bad, like people start getting hurt and stuff, which I don't want it to come to that, but... Am I watching Supercars this weekend? Depends on what time it starts, my friend Sean. Depends on what time it starts. Scott, yeah, I saw Scott Dixon was there. Joseph Newgarden. I would love to see them in NASCAR. Yes, the playoffs are still win and you're in, Clausen Z. Fantastic Priest watching Daytona is gonna... Fantastic Priest. I'm gonna do you a favor. Right here. You can just go ahead, Fantastic Priest, and just Saturday, August 23rd, give yourself a weekend off. Just say, hey, I think that's week 0 of college football. So, hey, week 0 of college football, I'm going to watch it. There you go. I gave you something to do if you want it. If you don't want to watch Ryan Priest at Daytona again. Because that's a little scary. Micah, I have mixed thoughts on Christopher Bell's. When they like mash the schemes together, it's weird. I don't know how to feel about it. It was all Stenhouse's fault. I mean, Logano fans think it's Stenhouse's fault. Stenhouse fans think it's Logano's fault. And outside of that, it depends on who you're a hater of. If you hate Logano more, you think it's his fault. If you hate Stenhouse more, you think it's his fault. So... we should rename the Daytona 500 the Car Junkyard 500. Yeah, at this point, because everyone keeps wrecking each other, and I'm not going to say it, Fantastic Caprice, but they keep, each other. So, yeah, I guess we should. Jamie, why would you bring up such a horrendous topic? Why would you say that? Why would you bring up such a horrifying topic? Now I have to look up Atlanta's weather. That's what I'm talking about, for those of you who don't know the context. Technically, it's in Hampton, Georgia, but I think it's like a 30-mile difference. God bless America. 0%, 5%. There's a 5% chance in the afternoon, 0% the rest of the day. Oh, what a glorious day. Really need it to stay that way, but it's going to be a little chilly. 53 degrees, I'll say. That's a good temperature if you ask me. But the low is 34. If you're anywhere in between there, bring a jacket to the racetrack if you're going. I'm going to go. Hey, Fantastic Priest, you do what you got to go. Go watch the Iowa win. Go watch. What was that truck series interview he did? Don't do that. Not like Fantastic Priest. You can do what you want. I was trying to mimic your GOAT in his interview where he got mad. That was a funny interview. Charlotte. Oh, yeah, because didn't Hocevar like completely wipe him out or something? I can't remember how that all went down. What races am I planning on going to? You got to remember, not all of this is like locked in. I'm still trying to get into tracks and whatnot. COTA, regardless, I'm going to COTA. That's 3 hours, a 3-hour drive for me. That's easy. So COTA, hopefully the weather's nice there. Hopefully Vegas. Darlington again. Maybe Bristol. Maybe Talladega. Texas is my home race, so I'll go to that. That's my home race. Maybe Nashville. Summer, not much in the summer. That's a lot. A lot of that's really, really far away. Darlington again, probably. Maybe Bristol again. Maybe Vegas again. Maybe Talladega again. F1's the same weekend as that, and it's in Austin. That's probably it. More could pop up. I don't know. We'll see. It all depends on how things go down, obviously. Cold temps make for good track conditions. For Superspeedway, I don't really know. I'd hope so. It's less slick, which is nice, and hopefully that makes it more passier, if that's a word. But I want to go through some of our tabs. We already talked about Xfinity. Let's talk about our fantasy league. Here was my lineup, and look at my dumb self leaving Jimmy Johnson in the garage, not knowing he was going to finish P3. I could have really used those near 32 points there. I thought Cody Ware was going to finish top 10. Sorry. But let's look at our league. Our league standings. David Jerry is our leader. Congratulations, David Jerry. You won the Daytona 500 in the fantasy league. RT Racing is second. Zerkman 95 third. Rumdy Creations is fourth. Crackler is fifth. Oscar Dave sixth. Hell on Wheels 24 seventh. Klaus Van Gisbergen is eighth. Dan the Jets fan, our defending champion, is 10th. Aussie Matt is 11th. 12th is Super Carnut. 13th is Matt Smith, 53. 15th, there's a tie for 13th because Dunkin' Donuts is there too. 15th is Rebutted. 16th is Zero Apex. 17th is PC_18. 18th is Tyler Hernandez, 6th. 19th is Sportswagon. 20th is Fantastic Priest. Yeah, all you guys right to. I can't check your lineup, but it's awkward. Dr. Zero, and a bunch of people didn't fill out the rosters, so 45 and 2311 fan, if you're watching this, Otterbear 8, Shane Van Hamburger Buns, Pins _ 22, Tritech, Stevie G, Micah MLB 15, Kyle Bush 8, Ryan, Space Wrangler Racing, and A. Burke. Fill out your rosters for Atlanta. Also, where I'm 9th. I was wondering. Yeah, okay, so I am 9th. Top 10. We will take it. We have 32 people in the league. That's really, really exciting. Last year we only had like 15. So thank you guys all for joining. If you want to join, then, well, I'll put a link for you to join if you want. You got to give me a second. But feel free to join. It's really fun. I enjoy making fun of myself for my terrible lineup decisions. And how do I share? Give me an option. Is it because I'm not full screen? That is why. Oh my goodness. Aha, aha, aha. All right. Go to copy. There we go. And join the league. Yay! You can join the league. It's for free. We have fun. I should have read the Fantasy League rules first. Swap my garage driver, Blaney. Corey LaJoy had it. Yeah. I'll probably put LaJoy in my lineup this week. Like the super speedways, I like to put a part-timer in there so I don't waste it on like even like a Ryan Blaney who's a really good super speedway racer, but anything can happen. Anyone can wreck, but Mr. Spaceman 360, appreciate the contribution. Will he be in the B stands for back to back? Wouldn't that include 2 Bs though? Wouldn't you need 2 of the Bs? That's too much math for me, but we appreciate the donation to the channel, if that's what we're calling it. I don't know what the official word is. I still don't. Math is hard, but Grant, thank you. Appreciate you as always. Good friend of the show. Yeah. Let's see. It was fun. All right, okay, I want to talk about trucks. Let's talk about the truck series here. So the truck series, do you guys like the highlighted drivers I have for trucks? Timmy Hill and Norm Binning. Dude, Norm got a top 20. How about that? And Norm Binning, after the race, was talking about how he should have won. God, I love Norm Binning, man. Love the guy. Just has the confidence I desire to have. Norm Binning, you are my hero. Corey Heim ends up winning. Now, you may, if you watched that truck race on Friday night, you are probably wondering, what? How is that possible? How did Corey Heim win? I watched him finish second on the track. This is so sad. This is so sad that I have to do this. And there is Parker Kligerman. Last place. Yeah. So Parker Kligerman won the race. Got up at the end of the race, finished second in this, or won the race, and a few hours later, after he'd done all the celebrating, taking the trophy and checkered flag home, so excited in his post-race interview, news comes out. Truck ride height was illegal. His truck was illegal. Disqualified. Back up here. Corey Heim is your winner. So a lot of people were upset with this because Parker Kligerman's a fan favorite. He's been a part of the media for a while. By the way, oh my goodness, that Xfinity booth, 10 out of 10. Jamie McMurray and Parker Kligerman were feeding off of each other's energy, and they were doing it to perfection. Adam Alexander, longtime pro. I love the Xfinity booth. It's only been one race. Maybe it's just the initial excitement, but they did a great job calling that race. I had so much fun listening to Adam Alexander Jamie McMurray and Parker Kligerman. I'm serious, guys. I am so excited to listen to them for 33 race weekends a year. That is going to be so much fun. Anyways, Parker Kligerman gets disqualified. They get tossed, but hey, a lot of okay. So back to my point. I just remembered what my point was. Parker Kligerman's a fan favorite. Everybody likes him. There's really no reason to dislike him if we're being honest. Like he's a very likable driver and person, I would say. And so everyone was so happy that he won this race and it gets taken from him. And he had just had that heartbreak in the fall at the Roval and the Xfinity Series. And it's like, man, he just can't have anything to go his way. And look, if it was like a double yellow line controversy, there's no hard evidence, like it comes down to a millimeter, you can't tell on camera, I would say, okay, the uproar is all for it. But people online were like screaming, and I was like, look, if the car's illegal, it's pretty black and white. Like, Parker Kligerman, I'm sure he didn't do anything himself, but as I said, it's pretty black and white. Now they are appealing the disqualification. They think they have a really good case to win this appeal. And if they win the appeal, the car was legal. They're the race winners. Applause. Great job, Parker Kligerman. But as a result, Corey Heim is your winner. That's really the biggest topic of that race. And let me say, that was a fantastic trucks race. Last year, I remember the season opener of 2024. I came in, I made a video. I was still really mad about how the 2023 championship race went. And I went on a rant about how the truck series, there's no respect, blah, blah, blah. They just wreck each other. They're all dumb. This year, there was a lot of respect shown. There was great racing. Great moves were being made. It was a really good race. It was one of the better truck races. In fact, recency bias, it's one of the best truck races I can remember. So, I had a great time watching this trucks race. A great time. I know the post-race ended up making it a little bit sour with the winner getting disqualified, but I thought it was a great race. I really did. Fantastic Priest, you agree. You thought that Kligerman and McMurray did a great job. Rules are rules. See the Joey Logano glove. As I said, Jamie, yeah, I agree, but if he overturns the disqualification, there you go. Jamie Mack sounded like Logano. I'm trying to remember Logano in the booth specifically. You'd have to let me go back and watch. Fantastic Priest. Yes, I get they're trying to have Harvick like relate to the kids and stuff and using words like Riz and like I don't even know what words do. I'm not even going to ask. I'm terrified for the answer. Can we leave that in 2024, please? Like, I get you're trying to reach out to the younger crowd and stuff, but you don't have to go over the top to do so, and you also don't have to go over the top in the booth. I'm just saying, I think Fox gets too many complaints. Yes, they make mistakes. Yes, sometimes they miss things, which is extremely frustrating. I think the booth is great. I think they're good. Harvick, I think he does a great job of analyzing, especially since he's driven the car very recently. And Bowyer's excitement. Bowyer at his peak. Do you guys remember that Darlington race last year in the spring that he called? That was incredible. If he can do that each and every week, it's a perfect booth. And then Mike Joy. Mike Joy's an all-time great. But I think it's kind of like what I talked about with the Xfinity booth. Sometimes he's got to like feed off the energy. And sometimes like the end of the race, for example. Look, I don't call races, so what do I know? Like, realistically, that's the entire channel. What do I know? Like, I've never done any of this. So, but like Mike Joy's trying to call the finish. Like, he's trying to call William Byron's about to become a 2-time back-to-back Daytona 500 champion, adding his name to the history books once again. And Bowyer's like kind of attempting to talk over him, and it just sounded a little discombobulated. And it's like, Like NBC did a great job last year. Let Lee Diffie call turns 3 and 4. Let Lee Diffie call the last lap. So that's my one complaint about the booth. But other than that, I think they're good. I think they're solid for the reasons I provided. Don't usually complain about Fox's coverage as much as everyone else, but their coverage for the 500 was getting cringe at times, says Micah. Yeah, Micah, my biggest complaint is the whole trying to relate to the kids. Like, I get it. We want a younger audience. We want a long-term audience and all that. And we have some fans that are young, some, whether it's like little kids that are 7 years old with their die-cast cars, whether they're teenagers, whether they're 20-something-year-olds. I understand wanting to get as many fans as you can, but just hearing Kevin Harvick saying weird words, just please. Maybe I'm a hater. Maybe. Just not my thing. That's what I'll say about it. Just not my thing. Logano and Keselowski in the booth for the truck race. Ooh, that's exciting. You need to watch the opening round of Supercars. 3 races start off Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon Australia time. Once again, I'll look at the start times. Denver, I'll let you know what I can do. Like if there's I don't even know what time Xfinity is this week, but if there's an opening, hey, I'll see what I can do. We should have never started it. Yeah, fantastic pre-season. Yeah, we should not have started it. In terms of Kevin Harvick saying words like Riz. Did you see that graphic? I tweeted it, so I'm going to pull it up. They had a graphic that said the Rizzler. Speaking of, just astounding. Astounding stuff. I'm like, look, okay, you're not going to go all the way. One Rizzler appearance. Fox Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Also, like, I give up. I give up, guys. Oh, boy. Xfinity commentators is becoming my favorite. See, look at that. Denver. You get it. Dude, I am so excited for this Xfinity season purely off of the booth. Kligerman, McMurray, Adam Alexander. That is going to be so darn fun. Pardon my language. So darn fun. Oh, I'm so excited for Atlanta now, just to hear them again. They did such a good job. They fed off each other's energy. They like perfectly, not cut each other off, but like transition. Like McMurray's making 1 point, and it perfectly transitions to Kligerman making another point, and then it transitions to Adam Alexander making the call. Just, it was so beautiful. I loved it so much. So much. Jamie, yes, the trucks did race on Bristol dirt. It was hilarious. Martin Truex Jr. won it. It was. Pff. See, Sean loved Parker Kligerman in the booth. If they ever made Boyer call the race from the new studio in Concord, it would not go well. I don't like anyone calling a race from a booth in Concord, unless the race is at Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course. I like when Cup drivers are in the booth for Xfinity and I love, in between the lanes, I agree. I love having drivers in the booth because they know what they're talking about. Not to say that other people don't know what they're talking about, but I love when you get a driver who has recently driven the exact car you're talking about. Like Kevin Harvick is perfect because 2 years ago he was driving the next-gen car. Parker Kligerman is perfect because last year he was driving the Xfinity car. Those are perfect fits because they know every little turn of the wheel, every little step out of the car, every little bolt, every little thing about it and how it drives. They know about it, and they're going to tell you how they know about it and how it makes it different in the race. So I think that's great. And then also just having someone who's driven so many things. Like Jamie McMurray drove the Gen 4, drove the car of tomorrow, drove the Gen 6. Heck, I think he tested out the next gen car. He's driven all different series. He's a great source of information. So, all right, and then there's the trucks booth. curious how I want to say this. Jamie Little is a fantastic, I cannot emphasize this enough, a fantastic pit reporter. But I think there are better options in the booth, respectfully. I think she's a fantastic pit reporter. But I'd love to see, Micah said Rick Allen, I'd love to see Rick Allen back in the truck booth. But yeah, the truck booth felt a little chaotic on Friday. That's all I'll say on that. So. Yeah, everyone seems to like the Xfinity booth, which is really, really good to hear. That really excites me. Kenseth has to be wearing a wig. What? Jamie, I don't even know where that's coming from. That's so random. I read it out loud, too. That's the funniest part. By the way, watch now in Chicago street race from Larson Camp. There are supercars announcement concerning Kyle Larson. Yeah, Denver, I've heard the rumors about Larson potentially racing at Adelaide. I've also heard the rumors about other supercar drivers coming up. The schedule works out really well for the really well for the supercar drivers this year. There's a lot of open spots on the supercar schedule where there's a road course here in the U.S. I'm excited. That RCR 33, the fourth 2311 car, Project 91. There's a lot of openings, so I'm curious to see what they do. I don't even know what the supercar schedule is, but could someone be coming here for COTA? Dare I say? And then after this, by the way, we've actually been going on a long time. Kind of exciting, though. We're going to make our Monday picks here in a minute, but calendar. Here we go. Supercars calendar. Supercars does not have a race on COTA weekend. In fact, they have a week off the week after COTA, so they can come back and recover. Boy, if there's another Supercars driver at COTA, I am going to be very excited because I know you Supercars fans are going to be excited. All right, okay. Let's do it. Okay. Bob Puckers. All right, everyone. Time for Monday picks. We have another triple header. We got trucks, we got Xfinity, we got Cup. Quick note on trucks. I think Kyle Busch is racing. I'm going to confirm this real quick, but I believe Kyle Busch is racing in the trucks. Kyle Busch is in the trucks. Michael McDowell is racing in the trucks. We're going to make it quick for trucks. I'm going to pick Kyle Busch. There's no reason to pick against Kyle Busch in the truck series. Kyle Busch is my truck pick. Let's hear it. Everyone in the comments, let's hear your truck series picks for NAS Truck Night in America. Or NAS Truck Afternoon. I don't know what time they're actually racing. I haven't looked at the weekend schedule yet. I'm only now looking at the entry list for the lower levels. But let me know your truck series picks. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. Yeah, we got a lot of Kyle Busch picks already. David's picking Kyle Busch. In between the lanes, it's picking Kyle Busch. Fantastic Priest says GG's. It's over for the field. So Kyle Busch. If it isn't Kyle, then Gio. Okay. We got a backup plan essentially for Fantastic Priest. So a lot of Kyle Busch picks. Will Brown is racing 2 NASCAR races apparently. Klaus NZ, 1, send me the article. 2, which races? Well, I guess that would be in there. But if you don't want to send me the article, which races is Will Brown racing? Who did you ask about? Connor Zilic in the trucks? I don't think so. No Zilic in the trucks. Hate to burst your bubble. Xfinity, though, Connor Zilic is in there because he's full-time, so I can confirm that. Okay, so here we go. Micah says Kyle Busch for the trucks, Austin Hill for Xfinity, McDowell for Cup. In between the lanes is going to pick Kyle Busch for any truck or Xfinity race. So, any notes for the Xfinity entry list? No notes. Same field as this week. maybe not exactly the same, but it's a bunch of Xfinity drivers. We don't have a Kyle Busch in here. We don't have a Michael McDowell in here. Eric Almirola is in the 19 car for JGR. He's going to do another part-time schedule, so you can factor that in. But he's basically an Xfinity driver now. He does it for fun. Xfinity. I'm going to go Kyle Busch trucks like many of you. For Xfinity, though, a lot of people are going to pick Austin Hill, and I think that's a really good redemption, if we can count it that. He's won there 1 billion times. And here, side note, I swear, I remember at Atlanta, I'm sitting there in the grandstands watching Austin Hill lead, but everyone behind Austin Hill, they let him win. And it's my biggest complaint about the Xfinity series. He does a great job up there. He does a great job defending. But in the last 2 laps, when it's every man for himself, that's truly what it means. No one wants to push someone to the lead to give them a shot, and they just start racing each other for third, and they're 3 wide for second, and no one's pushing each other, and Austin Hill's pulling away. But I think we have an upset winner. So Fantastic Priest is picking Almirola. Klaus NZ's picking Sheldon Creed for win number 1. Okay. Earlier, Micah picked Austin Hill. I'm going to go. I really like how this guy ran last week. He ended up wrecking, but he was running really good up front. I'm going to go Nick Sanchez. Nick Sanchez is my Xfinity pick this week. I just really like how they ran that race last week. I thought they were really good. So right now, my truck is Kyle Busch. Xfinity is Nick Sanchez. So here we go. David's picking Austin Hill or Connor Zilisch. Okay. Zilisch for the win after Hill taking him out in the last lap. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine 2 straight years for Austin Hill getting into a mini rivalry with a Trackhouse affiliated driver sponsored by WeatherTech? That would be quite something. But okay. Cup Series. So everyone, we made our Xfinity and truck picks. Here's your entry list right here. I got this one pulled up. Look at the sponsors. I always base my pick off of if I can see that sponsor winning that week. It's probably a horrible logic. In fact, I can confirm it's horrible logic because I'm terrible at making race picks. But here you go. We got Corey LaJoie is back in the field this week. Got to factor that in. We have 2 more open cars. BJ McLeod's going to race again. Well, I know he didn't make the 500. And then we're going to have JJ Yaley. So we have 3 open cars. Fantastic Priest. I will hear you out because of how good LaJoie is at Superspeedway, specifically Atlanta. So I'll hear you out. But I'm not going to pick that. I'll tell you right now, I'm not picking that. Cindric for Fantastic Priest. Okay. Like the Team Penske dominance. Jamie's picking Joey Logano. Most recent winner there. Team Penske so good there since the reconfiguration. Klaus NZ, Cindric. Man, we got a Penske sweep so far. Arby's car. Yeah. Who is it? Is it Cody Ware? It is Cody Ware. Cody Ware in the Arby's car. Oh, boy. That's kind of exciting, though. William Byron is David's pick. Okay, so William Byron. When's the last time someone has opened up the season on back-to-back wins? I think we had this discussion last year. I'm having a deja vu moment. Anyways, when is the last time someone did that? I think Kenseth did it in like 2009, maybe? I can't remember outside of that, though. I mean in the Cup Series. Like, in the Cup Series, when's it last happened, of course. Cody Ware will win every single lap. Cody Ware will lead every single lap and win. I'm not joking, says Micah. Do not go to the live chat or the old live chat because I'm definitely not making that up. Denver. I just read a prediction that said Cody Ware will lead every lap and win, and that is less bold than the pick that you just made. Not exaggerating. Kyle Larson at the Superspeedways. No. I don't know how else to say it. No, he just keeps wrecking there. In fact, Jeff Gordon in the press conference this week, oh my goodness. Gordon said it's in his own head or something. It's like, oh my goodness. So harsh. Like, that's your own guy, man. I don't know what Larson's got to do different. I don't know why he sucks. He'll run up front, he'll lead laps, he'll win stages, but then come the end of the race, he gets involved in a wreck. So I'm not picking Larson. I will never pick Larson on a super speedway until he proves me otherwise. He got roasted by his own kid about his super speedway talent. I forgot about that. Owen had a press conference and roasted him. So we got a lot of Team Penske picks here. A lot of Cindrics, a couple of Logano's. No one picked Blaney, though. That's right. All right, so all you picking Team Penske, this guy has led so many laps, so many stages, but he's never won at Atlanta. At least on the new, remember, he won at the old Atlanta, but he has not won at the new Atlanta. I like how Team Penske looked last week. I like where you guys are thinking, but you're not thinking about the right driver. Ryan Blaney, that is my Atlanta pick. Picking Ryan Blaney to win Atlanta. In fact, what's the sponsor this week? Body Armor? Oh, yeah. I can see that paint scheme winning. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go with Blaney. So, my Monday picks for trucks, I'm going with Kyle Busch. Boring, lame, I know. Then I'm going a little bit bold. I'm going to say Nick Sanchez in Xfinity and Ryan Blaney, not that bold, in Cup. So, yeah. Kyle going to put Owen in a super speedway race when he's old enough and tell him nothing to get back. Hey, fantastic priest. I think the funniest thing possible would be Kyle Larson letting Owen race in a super speedway the instant he's old enough, and then Owen winning the race before Kyle Larson ever could. That would be really funny. Or like Owen Larson, like at 19 years old, winning the Daytona 500, and Larson's just sitting there like, how? I don't know. That might be funny. Ross Chastain will win Atlanta on Earth 2. Brain. Nobody picked Chase Elliott. Fantastic. Yeah, that would be diabolical. No one's picking BJ McLeod. Get loud for McLeod. No? Anyone? I'm putting him on my fantasy roster this week. Him and LaJoy. I'll probably use up Blaney this week, though. Well, yeah, Micah, that everyone knows that, though. Like, he'll lead laps, he'll win some stages, but he can't not wreck. And that's kind of an important thing at super speedways. You're not allowed to wreck if you want to win. Or if you wreck, you're only allowed to spin out. Like, dude, I don't know. It's just Larson. It's just how it goes. I'm not picking him. I will never pick him at a super speedway. I'll pick him at Vegas. Maybe every single Vegas race for the rest of the time. I'll pick him at Martinsville, Phoenix, Bristol, Nashville, Sonoma. I'll pick him anywhere but the super speedways. But I will never pick him on a super speedway because he doesn't know how to finish it at the super speedways. David, you bring up a great point. Daytona 500 2017 was the closest Larson got, and for once it wasn't his fault. He ran out of fuel. Got to give that one to you, David. I forgot about that. Thank you for the reminder. Ooh, I forgot I had a Denny Hamlin tweet loaded up. If you guys don't listen to Denny Hamlin's podcast, I would recommend listening to it. I know a lot of people don't like Denny Hamlin. They got their strong opinions about him. But he does a great job conveying what's going on in the car and the strategy calls and the driver, what the drivers are thinking. And then he also, of course, has his own personal opinions on NASCAR itself, whether it's a call that's made, whether it's the style of racing, which was heavily emphasized this week at Daytona. But I just think he does a tremendous job. I think he does a really good job talking to the fans, being brutally honest with the fans. So if you don't listen to it, I would listen to it. But he was hot. He was heated in the first, as Jeff Gluck said, 15 minutes of actions detrimental. He was really mad about just how the race ended last night, how Superspeedway has evolved into this, I hate to say fluke, but kind of this fluky, everyone kind of wrecks, and if you don't wreck, that's how you win. He's just really not a fan of that. So, how is Hamlin at New Atlanta? Jamie, Hamlin at New Atlanta. Hamlin in the next gen era at Superspeedways, horrible. It's not always his fault. He was great there at the end of 2019 to 2021 in what I said was that great era of Superspeedway racing. But Denny Hamlin, Atlanta stats. Starting in 2022 is when we had the reconfiguration. He has finishes of 29th, 25th, 6th, okay, 2023 March, 14th, 23rd, and 24th. So, and in fact, he's only led, this is easy math, 32 laps. Yeah, not pretty. So, well, I got to go get this SVG recap thing posted as a video itself, add some graphics or whatever. Maybe not graphics, throw some pictures and videos up there. But I appreciate you guys all for showing up. Our second Monday after of the season. We had our first after the Clash. Number 2, check. We made our Monday picks. I've got Kyle Busch, Nick Sanchez, and Ryan Blaney. A lot of you are Team Penske believers, Austin Hill believers, Kyle Busch believers. But thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for supporting as always. I truly appreciate it, all the support. Over the last week, it's been really good. It's been a really strong start to 2025, but also just the support in general. Whether you've been here a day, whether you've been here a month, whether you've been here all 8 years or however long we've been doing this, I truly appreciate it. So, what did I write down? I don't know what I wrote down. I mean, I've got notes from the SVG stuff, but I mentally noted my Monday picks. But Fantastic Priest, David, In Between the Lanes, Jamie, Clausen Z. Oh, Fantastic Priest, it's on the chat replay. I'll go back and look at it potentially next Monday. So I know a lot of people pick Kyle Busch, though. So if Kyle Busch doesn't win, that takes out about 90% of us. But no, I've got the live chat replay on here. I can go back and look at it. So thanks again for watching, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the live stream. I'll have a video up here in probably 2 hours, SVG's post-race thingy. But thanks again for watching. Marty, welcome. But it's over now. Sorry.